Hello, my name is Linda Ngo. I just finished up junior year. I'm studying human biology and I go by she, her, hers. I would say that overall I'm a friendly type of person, although I wouldn't call myself extroverted. I try really hard to get on everyone's level when I meet them and try to know and make that connection. And I typically try to put others first. That's something that everyone always tells me. And with me being like the oldest sister in my family, I always feel like I'm always looking out for others before I put, my needs first. How did we meet? Oh, okay. So it was middle school. 6th grade math, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were sitting there and my older cousin and his older sister were really good friends, but I hadn't really talked to Kevin before until like 6th grade. So we were in the same math class and I was like, oh, another Asian, because we were in a predominantly white school, so I was like always keeping an eye out on the other ethnicities. And then one day, for whatever reason, my cousin invited me to go out to the pool and Kevin was there with his older sister. And I just remember Kevin and I didn't talk much, but that day Kevin pushed me into the pool and I had all my clothes on. I think the first prominent thing that I remember being really proud of was in high school. I joined the marching band kind of late compared to my peers. I joined sophomore year. Typically people join like freshman year, but I joined sophomore year and I had like a hard time getting hang of the ropes right away. And I remember having to push myself really hard, but eventually I felt this love for marching band that I never felt for anything else before. And so then I just pushed myself throughout the years. And then senior year, I remember getting the position of drum major, which is one of the 4 head conductors for the marching band. And I was really, really happy. And another recent thing that I'm really proud of was this past year, actually. So this past year, I was the Vietnamese Student Association, UVSA-IU president for this past term, as well as the executive director of the Vietnamese Interacting as one conference for the Midwest. And just having to juggle those 2 things while also juggling school and being able to execute each one without drowning was something I was really proud of. And we made it through, so.
We did it.
We did it. Okay, I like this one a lot. Okay, so last year, me and Kevin and our other best friend wanted to go for a spring break trip, not typical Florida or Mexico, Cancun, whatever. We wanted to go to Vancouver. Okay, so me and Kevin, we're gonna meet our other best friend in Vancouver. So me and Kevin were like, okay, we're gonna buy these tickets because it's cheap, but the only thing was that you would have an overnight in Toronto. And so then, my parents, being my parents, they're like, no, we're not gonna buy you service in Canada. You're gonna have Wi-Fi at all times. And I was like, okay, whatever. Kevin has service in Canada, so it's okay. So we flew from where we were to Toronto, and then we arrived at 10 p.m. and Kevin and I wanted to leave the airport and explore downtown, because our flight wasn't until 7 a.m. the next morning. So we're like, oh, we have so much time. We're gonna go to the bars. We're gonna go out, explore. So we go there and we realized that we forgot to exchange our money to Canadian dollars. So we walked around paying everything in US dollars. It kind of got ripped off because the US dollar is more than the Canadian dollar, but we had to pay the full price. So 75 US dollars for 75 Canadian dollars. And also, Kevin's phone died, so that meant we had no service because my phone didn't have service, and we had no money for the taxi either, and there's no taxi, nothing was open. So pretty much we were stranded out in the middle of Toronto. No one would ever want to do that. But we made it out alive. Okay, let's start with personal. So my personal goal is, I guess it ties in with professional, just being able to find something that I'm really passionate about to have as a career. Because I know I've talked to Kevin about this, but in this past year, if I've kind of fallen into a rut of what I really wanted to do, it's just that like when I was younger, I was put into this mold to follow, and this path to follow, and I never really questioned it until this year when I realized like, oh, is this something I really want to do, or is it something that others want me to do, specifically like my family? So that's the goal for me, to find a career that hopefully I would cherish. Something more personal is that I want to be able to be more confident in myself. I want to be able to like travel or meet new people, socialize without having that like thought in the back of my head, like, oh, you know, you're not as outgoing as other people, or you're not well communicative to other people as well, and you're sometimes awkward. Like those negative thoughts I want to like push aside. And then in terms of goals for VSA, so for VSA at IU, we restarted 3 years ago in 2016, and we've made really long strides ever since then. We hosted the regional conference for the first time for VSA at IU, so that was really awesome. But I think another goal I want for the future is just that our base, I'm sure like with other VSAs as well, but our base foundation for our members to grow even larger, and to not only accept those who are Vietnamese descent, but of those of all descents and who are interested in Vietnamese culture, and just to make our presence even more known on campus, and to get the university to recognize that we are a growing and strong organization. And then for Midwest VSA, I would say, because we're the largest region in terms of size and distance, I hope that we'll be able to keep that connection between all other VSAs very close to each other, because we have some VSAs in Kansas, Michigan, Ohio, and we do a really good job about like going to each other and visiting. But I would like to see more events coordinated, and to provide those leadership opportunities to them, as well as to provide new events to our community. Positives is that last year, I'll talk about the regional VSA. Last year, it was the first time my local VSA joined really the regional VSA, and the moment that we stepped in, we were very welcome. Like all the other VSAs accepted us and talked to us as if we were there like all the time. And now we're really close with those outside of Indiana University, just because of how welcome they are and how well we all get along. Okay. Acceptance, just to go further into that, I think just because everyone is so welcoming and not easy to like, or not so quick to jump to conclusions, or like to judge others. I've also met a lot of people who connected very deeply on other levels besides like small talk, and I think supporting each other through those hard times is something like very important in acceptance for VSA. For sure, I'm trying to think. I think when it comes to certain topics, whether it be politics or like mental health issues. There are some instances where others may not be able to relate on the level that the person who's speaking about it is saying. And then in terms of that, our community, I feel like we should do a better job about encompassing those ideas and detailing it so that people would understand. I think we're trying to get there, but we're not at that level yet. But I've talked to a couple people already about like topics such as those, and they've said that they felt uncomfortable and kind of like left out just because we say that we are trying to pursue it, but at the same time it doesn't seem like we are keeping our words with our actions. Favorite memory? My favorite memory, there's a lot of memories. I think my favorite memory that is jumping out to me right now was last year when we went to visit, I think it was Notre Dame's culture show or some sort of Notre Dame VSA's event, and one of the hosts, they had let all the IU visitors come stay at their place, and it was really funny because we had at least 20 people with us, and we had to try to fit into the small living room apartment. And so then I remember just sleeping next to everybody. We're like sardines on the floor, but it was like really heartwarming just to see everyone like sleeping together, just because it reminded me of like when I was little, I would always sleep with my cousins, and we had that like family, really close kind of bond. And I just remember like hanging out that night and just making memories with those people that you could never make if you were like keeping to yourself and like closing yourself out in a way.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.